very good evening to everyone. My name is Nana, your nutritionist from USANA, Singapore. So, today, I'm actually not the one sharing about nutrition, but we do have a special guest with us. And in fact, this is actually the third time of the year that we have this very special guest to share about nutrition as well as the science behind USANA products. So, if you have been attending our sessions, you're actually probably quite familiar with his face. He is also the writer behind our health encyclopedia, AskTheScientist.com. So let's have a big welcome to Austin Winegar, the Senior Manager of USANA Health and Science Education. Hi, Austin.
Hi.
All right,
How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's great to see you again. So I will pass on the session to you, and you can share more with our audience about cardiovascular health.
Okay. Yeah, so as you heard, today's talk is about cardiovascular health. I've got the chat open, so if anybody has questions along the way, wants to know a little bit more about what I'm talking about on that screen, feel free to ask questions and I'll see if I can address them. So I guess to start here, maybe I've got a question for you. What parts of the body are involved in the cardiovascular system? We've got the obvious one that people always know, which is the heart. But do we have any other knowledge of which other aspects of the body included cardiovascular health? So from an anatomy point of view, it's not just the heart, but this also includes the vessels coming from the heart, going back to the heart, as well as all of the blood itself. And so when you break those down a little bit more, you've got veins that bring blood back to the heart after it's delivered oxygen and different nutrients throughout the body, arteries that go from the heart to those different parts of the body. And then we have the capillaries as well, which are the thin, small vessels, kind of basically the end points of those arteries and veins. As it reaches the skin or the different individual muscles that they're supplying, they become smaller, and that's the capillaries within your body. And then finally, you have the blood as well, which the blood includes red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma, serum, platelets. They carry oxygen to the body, carbon dioxide back away from the different muscles throughout the body. And then finally, all the different other nutrients in there, whether you're looking at, micronutrients like vitamins and minerals, as well as the energy within your body. So fats, carbohydrates, all of those are carried by the blood throughout the body. When you look at the entire system of veins and arteries, you find it's about 100,000 kilometers long. And the reason I mentioned that is that's really what a lot of my focus today is going to be on, is the different arteries, veins, and capillaries throughout your body. The heart is very important. We've all heard about the necessity of exercising regularly to keep your heart healthy. There's the different heart-healthy foods out there, but really where a lot of those important aspects come into is keeping the different veins, arteries, capillaries healthy, and those in turn play an important role in keeping the heart healthy. So some of those are involved in blood pressure, flexibility of the veins and arteries. And so they're really some of the major primary aspects of keeping the entire cardiovascular system healthy. It's kind of a repeat of what I was mentioning. So their biggest roles are delivering nutrients throughout the body. And as a result, they do play a strong role in cardiovascular health. When looking at some of the different lifestyle factors that impact cardiovascular health, these 5 are probably the single biggest and most important ones. So number 1, maintaining a healthy weight. If you're overweight or obese, that means your body's larger, you have a larger volume of blood within your body, your heart has to pump harder to move all that blood all around everywhere, both to the limbs and then back. In general, people who are overweight are also linked to the second one, which is they're less active, is the reason they're heavily obese, is they're not burning the calories, but also when you get into the inactivity aspect of cardiovascular health, simply you don't get the exercise for your heart on a regular basis. You don't have the veins and arteries being tested and pushed to their limits on a regular basis, which in turn, like the muscles in your body, helps strengthen them long term and helps them be healthier. And then also activity helps speed up your heart so that you can, move the blood all the way around your body on a regular basis. Really, circulation is an important key aspect of that as well. And then we have first two or a little more things about your body. These next three are more things you're putting into your body. So tobacco is a big one. Simply smoking or chewing tobacco increases your blood pressure within your body. It can have some hardening of the arteries and veins within your body. So avoid tobacco use, avoid alcohol abuse. Alcohol in moderation doesn't impact cardiovascular health in any negative way. And by moderation, we're typically looking at 1 drink a day for women, up to 2 drinks a day for men. And a drink is, a single about 30, 35 milliliter measure of a strong liquor type product, a little bit more of wine, even more than that of beer, but really just a moderate amount is kind of, what that is. And then overall unhealthy diet. So what makes up a diet? That's where I'm going to start digging in deeper and deeper here. As far as dietary components and keeping a healthy diet, you have things you need to avoid.
ถ้าเกิดซึ่งมีเช็คแล้วก็สมมติกัดเป็นมีมิวเห็บ
I'm going to mute that. Okay. Got people muting everyone. So some of the things that we need to increase in our diet would be fruits and vegetables. These contain not only fiber within the vegetables, which has an important cardiovascular benefit, but they have individual vitamins and minerals that support cardiovascular health. If we are going to be eating meat, you typically want it to be lean meat, not as much of your red meat. You don't want it, when you've ever cooked meat really high heat, you get those charred black edges along the outside, which can have some potentially long-term health consequences that are negative to cardiovascular health. And if you are going to be eating meat, typically what's healthier is fatty fish are some of the healthier choices if you're going to eat meat on a regular basis. So salmon is one of the fattier meats, tuna as well. But really should be concentrated on fish rather than beef primarily, and then kind of in a middle, more neutral ground might be like pork or chicken. And then increasing overall fiber, whether that's from vegetables or whole grains. You want to increase fiber to support cardiovascular health. And then limit, as I mentioned, red meat, saturated fat, trans fat, added sugars. So anything that's really rich in sugars have negative cardiovascular health benefits because those can also lead to being overweight or obese. And then limiting sodium. You do need some sodium. You have to have some for your body to run and for the cardiovascular system to run, but too much of it can have negative impacts on your cardiovascular health. If you're curious about saturated fat, trans fat, added sugar, or sodium amounts, you can always look at the label of any food products that you're eating or search them up on the internet and you'll find pretty clear numbers on what each food contains for those. When you're looking at some of the individual nutrients that you're looking for within your diet, within those fruits and vegetables that were recommended, I mentioned fiber. That's one of the single biggest one that supports cardiovascular health. And then additionally, you have B vitamins, vitamin D, magnesium, vitamin C, different plant flavonoids, and omega-3 fatty acids. So fiber specifically been shown to, you're probably aware of some of its digestive health benefits, but it doesn't just play a role in supporting your microbiome and supporting your digestive system, but it also plays an important role in cardiovascular health. So low density lipoproteins, or LDL cholesterol, you might have heard it called, can play a negative impact on cardiovascular health. They're kind of stickier molecules. They stick together. They stick to the sides of your arteries and veins. and they can build up within the vessels of your body over time. But fiber has this important, basically soluble fiber, which is what's dissolved in the digestive system and absorbed into the body and taken into the cardiovascular system within your vessels. And the blood supply is a little bit sticky too, and it can actually bind to these LDL particles and help attach to them and pull them away from the walls of your vessels and really keep kind of the whole system clean is what they help do. It's really help circulate all those LDL particles throughout the body on a more regular basis. So that's their primary role in cardiovascular health. The average adult eats about 16 grams of daily fiber versus the recommended intake of 25 to 30 grams. So you should be doing at least 10 extra grams of fiber a day beyond what most of us are already eating. And one of the great things we have to help support that is Fiber G Active, which we just recently released and updated. In addition to, compared to the old Fiber G products that USANA has offered, it offers some of the same soluble and insoluble fiber and the health benefits associated with those, which the insoluble is primarily the digestive health benefits, and the soluble fiber attaches to those LDL particles like I was mentioning. But this also has a few neat new ingredients which make the product look a little bit different. You can even kind of see it in this picture there. You've got these few little black particles you'll find in that spoonful of the Fiber G Active. And what these are some of the apple, blueberry, and raspberry that we have in there, which has these tiny small components that make up those black dots and kind of change the color of the product a little bit. But these specific components, we've done some research on them. They've been shown to specifically support and increase the variety of the different bacteria within your microbiome. They also provide some antioxidant support within those plant compounds, and really just overall make this product a little bit more diverse and just help support your microbiome really a lot more than some of the other simple alternatives that might be only a couple of sources of inulin from agave or other different things, which are great, but this provides a little bit more variety within the product, which leads to more variety within your microbiome as well. So in addition to fiber, this is one of the other ones I mentioned is magnesium. So magnesium plays an important role in supporting healthy blood pressure within your body, which in turn plays an impact in overall cardiovascular health. You'll find some magnesium in a variety of different USANA products, and I'll kind of summarize a couple of those products in a couple slides here. Next, you've got B vitamins. So B vitamins specifically have been shown to support healthy saturated fat levels and cholesterol levels within your body. Or, not saturated fat levels, but in turn with eating healthy saturated fat levels in your overall mixed diet, then they can play an important role in supporting healthy cholesterol levels within your body and overall support cardiovascular health in your body. And then we have vitamin D and vitamin K2. So these play I clicked accidentally. So vitamin D and vitamin K play an important role in basically directing the usage of calcium within your body. Calcium is essential for bone mineralization and the bone health within your body. However, calcium also can have a detrimental effect on your cardiovascular health. Like those LDL particles that stick to the insides of your different vessels, calcium can also build up, harden, and stick to those vessels. And one of the most important things about keeping the vessels healthy is making sure that they're elastic. They need to be able to grow and contract if this is the inside of a vessel. And the reason they need to be able to grow and contract is when you're exercising, for example, your heart is pumping a little bit harder. It's increasing the pressure within that system a little bit more. So those vessels need to be able to react appropriately. If they don't, that's where you start to get some of these higher levels of blood pressure within your body, which can stress the heart. It stresses the more sensitive capillaries within the body, like those found in the eyes, or you've heard of people with high blood pressure I mentioned mentioned eyes, but also issues with their hands and their feet a little bit over time, because as that blood pressure is impacted over the months and years of our lives, it slowly just degrades those capillaries as well, which in turn impacts the nerves around those capillaries. So it's really important, kind of in summary, to make sure that the vessels, the large ones and the small ones, are flexible. They can shrink and grow with the pressure demands of our cardiovascular system and body. And the hardening of the calcium and the hardening of those cholesterol molecules are one of the biggest things that negatively impact that. Well, what vitamin D and vitamin K do, kind of circle back to these, is they make sure that calcium that's so important for our bones, that it stays in the bones. It helps, they're important in some of the signaling processes that direct the calcium into the bones and away from our blood vessels. And then that's really where vitamin D and vitamin K, in addition to some other benefits, but that's really where they primarily play a role in what we're looking at today as far as cardiovascular health, is directing the usage of calcium and helping keeping our veins and arteries flexible, which is where vitamin C starts to come into as well. So vitamin C plays an important role in the synthesis of collagen. And if you've probably heard the stories of pirates or sailors long ago developing basically scurvy, scurvy is a kind of a problem with developing collagen within our body. So they aren't getting enough vitamin C because they are simply eating meats and carbohydrates. They've got bread and things like that. Well, they started carrying limes and lemons and oranges on their ships to get extra vitamin C in their body, which in turn helped increase collagen synthesis. Some of those symptoms of scurvy would be brittle nails. Their nails would even fall off. Their skin wouldn't look very good. Well, those vessels within our body are made up of a lot of the same structure as our skin. It's kind of this network of cells that forms a layer. It's very flexible like our skin. It's bendy. And that's what helps make it so that it can contract or get larger. And that's one of the big roles of vitamin C in cardiovascular health, is making sure that we have constant collagen synthesis within our body, that we can replace those vessels, the collagen within them as needed, and just keep them flexible. In addition to collagen roles of vitamin C, it also acts as an important antioxidant. It can help neutralize free radicals, which is what leads to some of that hardening long-term within the vessels, is basically oxidation of those LDL particles or other different components within our blood can cause some of those problems long-term. And so that's where vitamin C kicks in there on the other side, as well as helping neutralize those free radicals long-term. And as you notice, I didn't mention it, but you'll find on every one of these, I always have references at the bottom of these. So if you need to learn a little bit more, you can take a quick screenshot. We can provide you with these references after if anybody's wanting to learn a little bit more about where these claims and where this information comes from. You can find all these different nutrients on the last several slides: magnesium, B vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin K2, vitamin C, within the cell essentials, as well as all of the other essential vitamins and minerals are within the cell essentials. In addition to that, we have different antioxidant components within the cell essentials. These are really your number one thing that I would recommend as far as our products for supporting cardiovascular health. In addition to vascular health, they contain calcium, like I was mentioning, for bone health. They contain other different nutrients to help support your hair, skin, nails, your joints, your eyes. There's a lot of different things in here that support overall health of your body. And then if you're more worried about your cardiovascular health, you can add in that extra fiber on a daily basis from the Fiber G. That's what you're needing. And then a couple of these other products that I'll be mentioning here in the future. So flavonoids can also play an important role in supporting cardiovascular health or endothelial function, which endothelial, that's a name for that vessel structure, that the type of tissue within the vessels is endothelial tissue. Flavonoids are essentially beneficial plant compounds you can find in a variety of different plants. One of the key ones that we've picked out and that we've done some research on is grapeseed extract. So like some of the other flavonoids out there, it can improve endothelial function, but specifically those found in grapeseed extract, some of the research we've done on them have been shown they can help you maintain healthy cholesterol levels. And then we've also done some research with Boston University. It's a study we did about 10 years ago at USANA. With the combination of grapeseed extract and our special form of vitamin C called Poly-C, have been shown they helped basically support blood flow within the small capillaries of the body. What we were doing is we put a machine on people's fingers and we were actually individually measuring the blood flow of their fingers. We found that this helped improve blood flow through those small capillaries within the body. The combination of these two ingredients, grapeseed extract and Poly-C, which is a form of vitamin C that I'll talk a little bit more about now. Most frequently, when people are supplementing vitamin C, they're using ascorbic acid. And ascorbic acid is a great form. There's lots and lots of research on it out there. But it has a couple of different limitations on it. First, it's digested and absorbed into your body really quick. Vitamin C in general is just absorbed really quick. And then it drops out of the blood. It's either used up or it breaks down or it's excreted out of the body fairly quickly. And so this is one of the reasons that we're looking at a different form. We found that Poly-C increases the overall levels of vitamin C in the body, and then it also increases them for a longer period of time than ascorbic acid alone. And you can see that even over the time difference, they both start to drop off about 4 to 6 hours after you've taken them, which is one of the reasons we have the Cell Essentials recommended in 2 separate doses throughout the day, is so that after it's dropped off, that 4 to 6 hours in the afternoon, 10, 12 hours later, you can take the second dose of the Cell Essentials to respike these levels of vitamin C within the blood, as well as some of the B vitamins have the same thing. They're dropping out of the blood pretty quick. And that's one of the reasons we have the Cell Essentials split up into separate doses, and you need to take vitamin C more than just once a day. The other benefit of Poly-C over ascorbic acid is that when you're taking larger doses, which you might need to have these blood levels elevated for a longer period of time, ascorbic acid can cause a little bit of an upset stomach. Just simply within the name there, ascorbic acid. It becomes a little bit acidic along with the stomach acid within your stomach, that it can cause a little bit of digestive discomfort. Versus Poly-C buffers the ascorbates. So it would be called calcium ascorbate is one of the ingredients, magnesium ascorbate, potassium ascorbate, zinc ascorbate. It buffers that with these different minerals, which can help reduce some of the acidity and some of the digestive discomfort that you might normally experience with really high doses of ascorbic acid. And those are a couple of the reasons we've chosen to use Poly-C as our primary source of vitamin C within most of USANA's products. This is that study I mentioned with Boston University on those 2 ingredients. This was with Poly-C and grapeseed extract. If you want to learn more about this study and some of the details, you can find it on askthescientist.com, or you can just do a search engine search, just type in the title of this research study right here in orange, grapeseed extract plus vitamin C improves indices of vascular health. You can find that online, read more about what some of that study involved. Here's a brief snapshot of that. Looking at some of the specific vascular function for those who just want to see some quick details without reading the whole study. But you find that compared to treatment, or the treatment compared to placebo, had a big improvement. So that left slide, you'll find that on baseline, the placebo group started out higher, and it did improve slightly with the acute and the acute on chronic, but the treatment group had a really large improvement. It started out in a worse position and then finished in a higher and better. This ratio they're talking about is basically blood flow, the ratio. Next, we'll look a little bit at the role of omega-3 fatty acids on cardiovascular health. So the general recommendation for fatty fish is 2 servings per week is what most people are recommended to have to get enough of the important fatty fish molecules in your body. And we're specifically looking at the molecules EPA and DHA. And that totals ends up being about 500 to 1,000 milligrams of these fatty acids per day. They specifically have been shown to help maintain healthy HDL, which is the high-density lipoprotein cholesterol, which is the healthy cholesterol, compared to what I was talking about before was the low-density lipoproteins, which can stick to the vessels within your body. So you want lower levels of LDL, higher levels of HDL. These have also been shown, these omega-3 fatty acids have been shown to support healthy triglyceride levels, which are a type of fat within the blood, and help support overall arterial flow and blood flow within the body. So they play a few different roles in supporting cardiovascular health, the omega-3 fatty acids. If you're not doing the 2 servings of fish every single week, an alternative to that, or if you're doing maybe 1 serving a week versus 2, would be adding USANA's Biomega. So this provides overall omega-3 fatty acids, primarily focused on EPA and DHA, and it also includes a small amount of vitamin D in there as well. In addition to cardiovascular health, omega-3 fatty acids will help support your immune health and joint health. If you want to learn a little bit more about some of those different roles in immune health and joint health, you can look at AskTheScientist.com. And then finally, just one last one. I won't go into the research on this one too much, but we have coquinone 30, which contains the important molecule coenzyme Q10 as well as alpha-lipoic acid. Alpha-lipoic acid has an important antioxidant health benefit, which helps support the cardiovascular system. And then also coenzyme Q10. So coenzyme Q10 is important for kind of some of the contractions of your muscles. You'll find it all throughout your body, but it's more highly concentrated within the heart because the heart is a muscle and it's contracting all the time. You're looking at even resting, it's contracting 60 times per minute for most of us. In exercise, it'll be upwards of 150, 160, 170 beats per minute. And coenzyme Q10 plays an important role in every one of those contractions. As we age, the amount of coenzyme Q10 within our heart specifically starts to decline over time. There are also certain medications, if people already have cardiovascular health concerns, there are some medications that can reduce the levels of coenzyme Q10 within the heart as well. So if you're starting to get a little bit older in age, you're concerned about your cardiovascular health, this would be one that might be worth just taking right away. And also, if you're on any sort of cardiovascular medication, talk to your doctor about maybe adding some coenzyme Q10 supplements to your diet so that you can get the benefits from those as well. And like all of USANA's products, these meet USANA's quality guarantee. And what that means is that we're monitoring all of the raw ingredients that go into our products. We're carefully monitoring the manufacturing process. We do rigorous testing for both contamination of the raw ingredients and final products. So we're looking at heavy metals, lead, arsenic, mercury, biological contaminants like bacteria, viruses, E. coli, fungus, mold. So all the quality control testing, but also we're making sure it has the beneficial components as well, that poly-C is in the cell essentials, it's in flavanol at the right levels. Also that it has the grapeseed extract, but not just a generic grapeseed extract, but it contains the specific components of the grapeseed extract that we're targeting within these products. And so that's one of the promises that we offer when in every single USANA product is that you're getting the highest quality products that we can deliver. With that, I just want to thank you for your time. We have a few minutes here, just a couple for questions that we can go over. If anybody has anything that I need to highlight a little bit more. So we do have a question. Somebody asked about Fiber G Active. They said in comparison to the previous product, they're taking the same amount, they're getting a little bit more loose stool. So you will have some digestive differences between the old product and the new product. This is one that, kind of like any of the food product out there, while we do have a recommended dose on the label, it might be a little bit more than some people necessarily need, or in particular with fiber, than some people can handle and digest very comfortably in one single dose. So like some of the supplements, if they need the extra fiber, it might be better to split it up into smaller doses throughout the day, just rather than multiple scoops of the product, do a single scoop with breakfast and maybe another scoop in the evening with their dinner or even after dinner, and split that up and test it out to see if it improves the digestion of that product a little bit more.